What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tanner Wyman of Barbarian Body. Today we're going to be covering the topic of losing fat while maintaining as much muscle mass as you possibly can. As always, let's get straight into this one. So in order to lose as much fat as possible while maintaining as much muscle mass as possible, we're obviously going to need to be going through a calorie deficit. However, we don't want that calorie deficit to be so severe or so strict that we begin losing our muscle mass. Rather, what we want to do is go through a less intense deficit that we can prolong over a longer period of time. Hence me releasing this video in early March so that you guys have a head start on that summer physique. And I'm going to mention the way that I've structured this calorie deficit for you guys is going to have you absolutely crushing your workouts. And that's one of the most important things that we need to execute here. Yes, we want to be in a calorie deficit, but we do not want that calorie deficit to affect our workouts. We still want to be going with as much intensity as possible, if not at the same level that we were going through when you were in your bulk or when you were eating regularly. Now, for this process, I'm going to recommend we just start with a 300 daily calorie deficit. This is not going to prevent you from losing your muscular gains. It's just a good place to start. Obviously, you want to tweak this based on your results, but a 300 daily calorie deficit, it's a pretty good place to start. So the normal way most people would recommend doing this is just do a 300 calorie deficit all 7 days of the week, which would give you a total of a 2100 calorie deficit over the course of an entire week. Take a look at this. This is interesting. So firstly, the blue box, as you can see, represents the days that you're going to be training. For this particular example, the individual here is going to be training 3 times per week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now the total is still a 2100 calorie weekly deficit, meaning you're still going to be losing the same amount of fat as if you were doing a 300 calorie daily deficit every single day of the week. Now you'll notice that I've changed the structure of the calorie deficit. Tuesdays, Thursdays, those are going to be a 600 calorie daily deficit, and then Saturdays and Sundays are a 450 calorie daily deficit. When it comes to your Monday workout, your Wednesday workout, and your Friday workout, well, that's just going to be the same amount of calories that you've been consuming for however long you've been just eating the way that you're eating right now. This is going to result in you being able to maximally perform each and every single one of these workouts and not feel like you're starving yourself on a daily basis. This is going to result in you guys being able to put out a lot more performance on your training days compared to if you were going to be in, say, a deficit of 300 calories or even a 400 calorie or a 500 calorie daily deficit. Stagger your deficits so that they're a little bit more strict on the days that you're not training, and try to up your calories on your training days so that you can maximize your performance in the gym. And before we get into a little bit more of my strategy here, there's one thing you guys need to follow. This right here is hugely important when it comes to maintaining your muscle mass. And what I'm going to recommend on a daily basis is to get 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. The reason I'm recommending you guys to go even up to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight is because you guys are in a deficit. So your body's going to have a tough time already maintaining the muscle mass. And for some of you guys, actually having 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight will actually yield you guys a lot of results without you actually putting on a lot of fat. So I kind of want you guys to gauge what's going to be the best for you. PreWorkout Nutrition. Now what PreWorkout Nutrition refers to is your pre-workout nutrition, your during workout nutrition, and your post-workout nutrition. Now I don't really focus too much on the during workout nutrition. Some guys do, but these are the guys that are really like super strict on bodybuilding and stuff. Listen, that's not really me, so I'm not really even gonna be talking about that. When it comes to before the workout, the most important thing I want you guys to think is to aim to get a majority of your carbs, a high amount of carbs, before the workout. And when I'm talking about pre-workout nutrition, we're talking 60 to 90 minutes before, so that your body has the time to digest everything and it doesn't have an impact on your workouts, because digestion takes a lot of energy and you don't want that process to be going on while you're trying to train maximum. So the main goal is to try and consume a majority of your carbs before your workout. This is gonna fuel you up and give you the resources that you need so that when you go into the gym, you attack, you go beast mode. As a consequence of this is when you're gonna be getting, a lot of calories as well, a high amount of calories, and we also wanna focus on getting a high amount of protein as well. Now here's a quick example of a peri-workout nutrition. This is the ideal situation that I personally try to go after. Do I hit this every single time? Absolutely not. A couple of days of the week I actually will. Those days will be proud. For the most part, I'm just trying to follow this structure as closely as I possibly can. So from the point that I wake up, which by the way is about 7:30, 8 a.m. till about 11:30 a.m., my goal is to get either no carbohydrates or a low amount of carbohydrates. Instead, what I'm gonna be focusing on consuming at this point is obviously a high amount of proteins, and then I can throw in some fats in there as well. Things like avocado, peanut butters, and any form of nuts and seeds. All right, 12 p.m., this is lunch. This is when I'm gonna be getting in a little bit more carbohydrates, a moderate amount. As you can see right here, my lunch is either gonna be a form of a stir fry with a lot of protein, a lot of meat, and some vegetables in there, but a moderate amount of carbohydrates, which is gonna be either in the form of brown rice or white rice. These carbs here is just to keep me mentally going. This is just what I feel that my body best responds to. And then after that lunch, from about 12:30 p.m. to 5 p.m., again, my goal is to get either no carbohydrates or a low amount of carbohydrates. And then we hit 5:30 p.m. This is when I'm gonna focus on getting a high amount of carbohydrates. Now you'll notice that I've planned this meal about an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a half before before I get into the gym. This is just so I can give my body the time that it needs to digest so that when I go into the gym, I can go absolutely ape shit. And then essentially directly after that workout, about 15, 20, 30 minutes after, that's when again, I'm gonna focus on getting a high amount of carbohydrates so that I can replenish my body with all of the energy that it just burned off and just consumed. And then directly after that meal, which is dinner, from about 8 p.m. on to the point where I'm gonna be going to sleep, my goal is again to have no carbohydrates or a lower amount of carbohydrates for the rest of the day. Now, when it comes to your training, this is one of the most important things that you guys can do. Track your maxes. Now, for those of you guys who don't understand what I mean when I say track your maxes, those are exercises, your compound lifts, the big movements, your squats, your deadlifts, your bench presses, your overhead presses. Now, the importance of this is very simple. If you're gonna be going through a deficit, there is a good chance that you're likely gonna lose a little bit of your muscle mass. Now, you want to ensure that you're losing as minimal muscle mass as possible. So the best way to track that is to track your max effort lift. So whether that's your 1 rep max, your 3 rep max, or your 5 rep max, consistently, week after week, tracking that as you're going through your cut. And the main goal of this is to try to maintain those numbers for as long as possible. And for some of you guys who just learned about PreWorkout Nutrition right there, you implement that, you probably are gonna notice actually that your maxes are going to go up a little bit because you're properly fueled to kill your workout. The main thing to notice is if your bench, your deadlift, your overhead press, and your squat for like a single week, they've all gone down by like 20 to 25 pounds, then guess what? Maybe the calorie deficit that you were trying of 500 calories on a daily basis is a little bit too strict, and you gotta bring it up to about a 400 or even a 350 calorie deficit. And that's just something that tends to happen when your deficit gets a little bit too drastic, or if you're really trying to cut in a short period of time. Hence me recommending the strategy of starting right now, starting as early as possible, and prolonging this cut for as long as you possibly can so you guys can maintain and hang on to as much muscle mass as you humanly can. So there you guys go. That concludes today's video. I hope I was able to present a lot of information for you guys. And if you made it this far in the video, then be sure to leave a comment down below to let me know exactly what this is. So 1, I can see you made it this far, and 2, we can throw off everybody else in the comment section when they go, why is everybody commenting cactuses in Barbarian Body's video? I've always got some random shit for you guys to comment. If you guys enjoyed the video, then be sure to smash that like button down below, and also be sure to subscribe for weekly workout tips and nutrition tips that you will not want to miss. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I'll see you all in the next video.